There are times when you have conflicts with other people, and that conflict reveals more about you than it does about the other person. Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Veronica from Single Life and her breakup with her newfound boyfriend that she thought was oh so cute and delicious, and why I think that there's kind of a underlying misnomer as to why they actually broke up and why he was moving. Now, before we get started, I would ask that if you're not subscribed to the channel, that you consider subscribing. It helps the channel, it helps me, and hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So go ahead and give me that HBO special down below, click that subscribe button, and then hit the bell so that you get notified anytime I upload new videos. Also, if you're already subscribed to the channel, thank you. And if you want to continue to support the channel, please consider hitting that like button and let me know that you're getting something from the video and that you're still enjoying them. Now let's get it. Now as we look at Veronica and her breakup with her boyfriend or soon-to-be boyfriend, a guy she's dating and a dude she mess around with, Justin, we have to ask the question, what exactly happened? Why did things fall apart? Now, if you ask Veronica, Veronica would take the position that things fell apart because Justin tricked her into having sexual relations with her, and after he got what he wanted, he told her or revealed to her that he was intending to move away with his wife and his kids back to Florida, and it was going to be a long-distance relationship. It was completely unattainable for her, and she can't do it, and she doesn't understand why he lied to her because she had placed so much trust and faith in him, and the relationship was going to work. Pooh. However, when we take a step back and look at what she said, look at all the facts of the case. The first fact is that they hadn't known each other for that long. The relationship that she's talking about and decrying was so valuable and so important that he should be willing to fight for. They had only legitimately been on 3 dates prior to the 4th date where they actually broke up. So technically, they were at best casually dating, at best. Maybe back in the day, we used to call it talking. They were talking. In other words, they were still negotiating the terms of the relationship, how things were going to work. They were still getting to know each other, and they wanted to figure out how they fit into each other's lives. That's completely reasonable. But what Veronica did was she took an instance where she decided that she wanted to explore the physicality of their relationship. So she set up a banging weekend. They went away for the weekend on the 3rd date. They had a whole weekend where they were doing the flip and floppy. And now she's saying that because they did that the relationship was accelerated and it means more than what it actually was. I, as talked about in previous videos, completely disagree with that notion. Just because you decide to try to cut the line doesn't mean that there was no line. It doesn't mean that things are moving faster or getting better for you or you're getting closer to achieving your goals. You're not. You're not getting closer to achieving your goals because you cut corners. The only thing that just happened is you cut corners. You cheapened your experience. So she cheapened her experience with this man, and she did the one thing that she wanted to do. And when you ask her, why did you go and have the banging weekend with him, and why was it so important that you try to shortcut the system and get around what it is you could do in order to make this a long-term, meaningful relationship? What did she say? She said, it's important to me to figure out whether he's good or not. If we don't have that physical connection, then it doesn't matter whether we have an emotional, spiritual, or psychological connection, because none of that matters. The only thing that matters is that we have this strong physical connection. And that's the most important thing. Because as she said, physical connection can't save a relationship, but it surely can destroy a relationship if it's bad. We're going to put a pin in that. We look at what happened. What happened was they went away. At the time that they were going away, he revealed that he might be able to pass on the STI to her, and she should be careful and they should be wary. She decided to do it anyway. They went, boom, boom, bang, bang. Everything happened. The next day, everything was cool. Then he came up, and all of a sudden, he just dropped on her, yeah, I'm going to move away with my wife and kids. We're going to go back to Florida. Is that okay? Now, initially, you look at it and say, wow, he kept that a secret and he wasn't going to tell her? Oh, man. And I've seen where some people have even made the assertion that, hey, he should have told her from the beginning. Veronica even made the assertion. He should have told me from the beginning. This was a lie of omission. He should have told me from the beginning that he was possibly going to move away. Instead of me getting my feelings all wrapped up into him and wanting to be with him. And he now all of a sudden, he come to me and tell me he going to leave. Well, if you think about it, maybe he was doing the same thing she was doing. And that didn't occur to me at first, but there's a possibility that Veronica had the banging weekend and Justin was not impressed. He was not impressed at all. He was not a fan of the banging weekend with her. And he decided at the next day after they finished their first round that, yeah, I'm going to try to figure a way to get up out of this relationship. And so he came to her and told her, revealed that he was actually going to leave town. The only thing that I've seen that was actually more apparent than what Justin did was there was a show called Seeking Sister Wives, and one of the prospective wives met with the wives, and she went on a date with the guy that she was going supposedly marry, the polygamist who she was supposed to marry or whatever. And they went out on a date. And he was corny and creepy. And so she said at the end of the date, they were supposed to go somewhere. Oh, my God, there was a phone call. She went off, kneeled down. Oh, I got to get out of here. Something important has happened at home. I got to leave. And then she left. And then he said, I don't know what happened. She just wouldn't come back to the hotel with me. I don't know what's going on. They went home. Him and his wives, they were all upset and crying. Oh, I thought she was the one. I thought she was special. He calls out there, and then all of a sudden, like maybe a week later or a month later, he gets a text saying that she died in the hospital. I think, if you gotta fake your own death, like this isn't the Eraser. She isn't entering into the witness protection program. It's not like they were the mafia. They were just people you were dating. The date went so bad that she had to fake her own death in order to get out of it. And then what made it worse was at the end of the season, they did the tell-all, and she was at the tell-all. And I'm afraid that, and I say that to say this. Ultimately, I'm afraid that when Justin shows up to the tell-all and Veronica tries to hammer him, or even Tim tries to go after him, then Justin might mess up and tell the truth. He might look at her and say, look, I'm going to tell you the truth. Just because it's easy to get don't mean it's worth having. And you know what I mean? It just totally destroyed Veronica, which is a point. And that's what I would suggest to anybody. Like, if you value yourself that way, or you know that if you do this thing, or there's certain things that if you do those things, that you're going to develop a tie to somebody, or that you can talk the talk, but you can't walk the walk. You can sit there and say that this activity doesn't mean anything to me, but know that if you perform that activity or you do that thing, it's going to mean everything to you. Then don't lie to yourself. And more importantly, don't give people permission to mistreat you, because that's what it would be. If you know that you're engaging in something that you can't do and you can't handle, and you do it anyway, then you're giving people permission to mistreat you, because you know they're going to do what they're going to do. And you're giving them permission to do what they want to do, even though it hurts your feelings. And that's kind of what I see with Veronica. Veronica also blames Justin, and this is just as an aside and a separate issue. She blames Justin for her relationship with Tim not being as strong, because Justin insisted that she create some boundaries between her relationship and Tim's relationship. And in her perspective, she said, well, I don't understand, and I don't think it's fair that I have to create a boundary between my relationship with Tim, but you get to move to another state with your ex-wife because she's so important and your kids are so important. They're more important than me and my kids. Yeah, because he's only going out with you 3 times. So yeah, his kids would be more important than you, and that would earmark him being a good parent if he held his kids in more esteem and more respect than he held somebody he just barely knows. That aside, he said he's moving to Florida with his ex-wife because it'll improve the chances for the kids to have more of a stable and normalized home, because they'll be surrounded by friends and family that they're comfortable with, and it creates a better and supportive environment for his children. There's nothing wrong with that. Opposed to him going out on a date with you, and when he gets back to your house and you guys are supposed to be having drinks, possibly a banging evening, he opens the door and your ex-boyfriend is sitting in your living room. That's completely different. You need to have boundaries in that situation. In a hypothetical, it would be extremely insulting if a person went out on a date, they go back to their date's home, and they get there, and not only is their ex sitting in the house waiting for them to come back, but then after a couple moments of exchange of conversation, the ex gets up and says, okay, well, it's time for us to leave. Come on, let's go. I'll walk you out. And the woman that you go on a date with is okay with that? Yeah, that's a boundary. For me, that would have been the end of the relationship, because if you're not adult enough to be able to control what you do, who you do it with, and when you do it, then you're not adult enough to be in a relationship with me. If you need to get guidance or instruction from your ex, then there's no room for me. And I would end that relationship as well. So from that respect, by him saying you need to create boundaries in that relationship, he was actually doing her a solid. He was doing her a favor by saying that these are the things that you need to do for me to feel comfortable. And the things that I'm asking you to do aren't completely unreasonable. What she was asking him to do by turning his back on his children was completely unreasonable and unfair. If you guys think that I'm right, that maybe Veronica's banging weekend didn't go off as well as she had hoped because she's not as skilled as she likes to purport herself or holds herself out to be, go ahead and give me a 1. If you think I'm off base, give me a 2. Let's do a soft poll. My name is James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been